Hello guys, welcome back to another episode of Red Devils Disciples. We are here and with the post-match analysis from the Man United vs Luton game. Sorry, I just have the game on the background listening to the post-match analysis. 17th place Luton versus 6th place Man United, and obviously we're trying to catch up to the Champions League spots. It's one of those situations where we cannot afford to drop games. You've got the Man United derby, Manchester derby coming up. Manchester derby coming up in a few weeks. So we need to make sure that until that point we are perfect. Final score 2-1 to Man United. How did the game go? Well, let's talk about it. First half, you look at it, and we started off really well. We exploded onto the pitch. I did say in my pre-match analysis that I would like to see us explode onto that pitch straight away and not sort of dilly-dally and not any of that stuff. I just wanted to see us being a bit more ruthless with everything that we were doing. And what we saw was, in the very first minute of the game, we saw Maribel make a mistake, almost pass the ball to Osho, but he wasn't there. And Højlund hustle after that ball, trying to get there, and intercepted the pass that was played, and rounds the keeper, and cool as you can, slots it into the back of the net. United really pressing here, do you know what I mean, from this point on, to try and kill the game off, or to extend the lead, should we say, not kill the game off. Still early in the game to kill the game off. But a couple of minutes later, Garnacho with a great shot, drops him outside the box, flies towards Højlund, and Højlund, well, instinctive goal. Almost reminded me, do you remember that Mario Balotelli goal where he just does the little shoulder thing when it bounces up into the air and hits it in? But in this case, it was a much more difficult finish because the ball was coming to him at speed, and you can see that he meant to do it. You can see that he intended to knock that ball into the back of the net. And great control, great instincts, a real poacher's finish, and it was good to see. From this point on, I'm going to be honest with you, post-second goal, Luton looked like the more dangerous team. They started attacking, started pushing up, started everything they needed to do. And it was good to see Tai Chong looking dangerous on the attack, and it takes a deflection. He was sort of attacking, and he took a shot, took a deflection off a defender, bounced up into the air, and then Morris was the first one to react to it and sort of get to the ball first. And Luke Shaw sort of lost track of his man, of his runner. And what this is sort of what we keep talking about mistakes, individual mistakes. Luke Shaw should have tracked that player. Luke Shaw should have blocked him out. Luke Shaw should have been looking at that. But to be honest with you, Luke Shaw didn't have a great game, and just coming back from injury, I don't know if he should have actually been on the pitch, but we'll go into that when we talk about the individual player analysis. From here on, after we conceded the goal, we looked really wobbly defensively, making mistakes. Not just defensively, but going forward, we started making mistakes, passing the ball, giving the ball away, silly runs into spaces that we shouldn't have been running into, passes that were never going to make it to the flare. We just looked nervous. Casemiro looked like he was off pace. I made a note here saying that he got his book in the 33rd minute, but he just looked like he was a liability today. And what I mean by that is he didn't look his usual self, Mr. Reliable. And we just couldn't really get back into the game at this point. So it was very much Luton. I think they had 10 shots on a bounce before we responded with a shot. So we dominated the start of the game, and then sort of Luton dominated the rest of the half from when they scored their goal. To the point where Luke Shaw was subbed off before the half. I just want to go back to Casemiro quickly. There was a tackle there where, you know what, Casemiro looked like he could have been sent off for it. I reckon he was on very thin ice, and it's one of those situations where I think anything else and he would have got a red card. So it was good to see that at the half, obviously Lindelof came in for sure, but it was good to see at the half, Erik ten Hag responded to this, subbed Casemiro off, and also subbed off Maguire, who had also picked up a yellow card. I think it was a situation, Maguire's yellow card was the result of Casemiro not being able to tackle, kind of pulled his leg back, and then all of a sudden Maguire had to make the foul. But again, I do think it left us vulnerable having two players in the spine of the team with a yellow card. And Erik ten Hag obviously taking the gamble of subbing in Johnny Evans at the half and subbing in Scott McTominay to sort of replace those two players, which I think paid off in the end. The second half started, Luton again in control. First 10 minutes it looked like it was just going to be very much the same of what we saw previously. When United then sort of woke up a little bit from the 55th minute onwards, and we looked quite dangerous. And I'll be honest with you, if it wasn't for their goalkeeper Kaminski having an absolute world-class second half, we would have had 5 or 6 goals in this game. Not that we were the better team, but we were catching them on the counter-attack in more dangerous positions. We had Rashford had a few chances that he should have scored. Bruno around the keeper, and the goal saved tackled by Lokonga, I believe it is, but he just slid in and stopped him from scoring the goal after he rounded the keeper. Garnacho, the same, rounds the keeper but hesitates before putting the ball into the back of the net, and it's just one of those situations where we should have killed this game off and we just did not kill the game off. At this point, I'll be honest, I started to worry whether or not we were going to be able to finish the game off, whether or not we would get caught on the backside, because at the end of the day, it's Premier League football and any club can be dangerous, and if you don't kill teams off, you get punished. But we got away with it a little bit. United doing well then from that point, I'm sort of solidifying. And what we saw then happening was substitutions from Ten Hag to try and sort of change the momentum of the game. And this was in the last 5 minutes. We brought on Amrabat, sort of solidified it with Amrabat and Mainu at the hold, put McTominay in the attacking mid, moved Bruno to the right wing, which I thought was the right decision to make. And then it meant Rashford pushed up front and Garnacho switched to the left side. And I actually think this sort of killed the game off quite well in terms of the momentum that Luton Town were trying to build. But again, Bruno wasteful again, missing an open shot on the right wing in the 87th minute. I think one of the things that epitomises sort of how we don't have this killer instinct, how we don't have sort of that mentality. 92nd minute, we've got a corner, play a short corner, and Bruno takes a shot. Why are you shooting? Control that ball, hold on to that ball. Why are you going on for, why are you trying to get a snatch a goal? All you got to do at that point is hold the ball, try and run the clock down. That ball was never going into the back of net, and I almost want to see a little bit more. What's the word I'm looking for? A little bit more, not nastiness, but a little bit more composure, a little bit more of a thought process throughout it. And I just think that at the moment we're very reactive. We're very sort of ball attack. Hold on, let's be a bit more wise here. In terms of the game itself, we had 42% possession, which obviously is not great, but we did play a counter-attacking game. And I did say in my pre-match analysis that it would be a counter-attacking game for us, and that we did go ahead and sort of sit back and hit them in the counter, and that's exactly what we did today. Both teams had 22 shots, but Manchester United obviously had 9 shots on target versus Luton Town's 4 shots on target. It was very much a counter-attacking game for us. Onto the team itself, you can see the team that I predicted, the only change was that Luke Shaw did start, and I did say that might be the one change to what I would do to Eric Ten Hag, just because I wasn't sure if Shaw was ready. And I think actually I was proved right. Shaw wasn't ready. He shouldn't have started that game. We should have started Lindelof at the left back, which is what ended up happening in the second half, or just before half time. Individual player ratings, I've given Onana 6.5 out of 10 today. I thought he was quite solid with the game. He could have done a little bit better maybe with the goal in terms of reaction, but to be fair, that's a little bit harsh. He did come out and sort of attack Morris at that point, but it was just one of those where I wanted to see a little bit more for him, sort of like command that. But at the same time, it was reliable. It wasn't really tested that much. Most of the shots were wide or were closed down by defenders, so it wasn't like Onana had a lot to do today, but he was consistent and reliable, and that's what we need from him. Luke Shaw, I've given a 5 out of 10. He just never looked like he was in the game at all. He lost his man Morris for the goal. He got booked in the 90th minute on a counter attack for blocking the play out. He just didn't look right, and then he was subbed before the half time. So clearly, that has to do something with something not feeling right. On the opposite flank, we had Dallo, who I gave a 6.5 out of 10 today. Actually kept his winger quite quiet, which was good. He closed down well, didn't let much come from his side, so it was good to see Dallo defensively working as hard as he was. I would like to see a little bit more offensively, but I also understand that if you're having to play quite a defensive game, that is your priority, especially as a right back. Varane. I thought today was probably Varane's best game I've seen him play this year as a Man United player. Good tackles, great clearances, always in the right place at the right time, even came up with some vital blocks. I thought Varane had a very good game today, so I've given him a 7.5 out of 10. I think a lot of the stuff he was doing would go unnoticed and would fly under the radar, But I think it was one of those situations where I want to see more of that from Varane moving forward. We're going to need him, especially with Martinez being injured. Potentially another couple injuries coming in and sneaking in. So we're going to need that leadership from him. Right, Maguire. I gave him a 5 out of 10 today. He was sloppy with his passing. I think there was one point where he let Woodrow in, was it? And he kind of got away with it. Similar to how Højlund got let in at the start. But he got away with it. Got a yellow card at the 42nd minute, it was a one-on-one and he took the player down. And then he got taken off at the half-time. I didn't think he had a particularly good game. It just seemed to be not quite to the level that we saw in the last game, but that's okay. I think a lot of that was due to not having as much protection in front of him, or not as great protection in front of him from this man, which is Casemiro. I've given Casemiro also 5 out of 10. I thought he had a poor game too. He got booked in the 33rd minute. He looked vulnerable throughout the game, especially on the counter, losing simple balls with simple passes, giving the ball away. He could have easily been sent off on the 38th minute, like I said before. So it's not a case where I don't think that it couldn't have happened. I do think it could have been a red card. Would it have been harsh to be a red card? Yes, I do think it would have been harsh. But he could have been sent off. And it was just, I think at this point, I'm a little bit concerned because it's a bit of a reoccurring theme with Casemiro. He's not really making that step up. He's not really sort of that match sharpness that we saw last year isn't really there at the moment, so we need to see that coming soon. I'm hoping as more time goes on, and I know he's had a big injury and he's come back, but I'm hoping that sharpness will come back. He almost looks half a step behind everything that's going on, as if the pace is too much for him. Now, whether that is his legs are starting to go, whether that is he just needs some match sharpness, I don't know, but I do think he's still our best option to play in there alongside Mainu. So I would keep starting and hoping that his legs start to come back and his sharpness comes back, Alongside him was Mainu. I'm giving Mainu 7 out of 10. Mr. Cool, Calm, Collective. What more can I say? The only player that when we were playing or we were being pressed by Luton, still dribbling past players, still looking for the simple passes, still going in and out. Very cool. Doesn't matter if it's one, 2 players pressing him or 3 players pressing him. The guy always seems to find the right pass. Almost reminds me a little bit of a young Paul Pogba in terms of how he never gets the ball taken off him. He's always got that right touch and release. And again, even saw some good tackling from him. And he did get booked for a yellow card, which was a bit of a weird one because actually he cleanly won the ball there. So I've given Maino a 7 out of 10. I thought he played really well today. Brings us on to our captain, Bruno. I've given Bruno 5.5 out of 10. I thought he had a poor game. I don't think he's doing enough for his role within the team. He had a few one-on-ones. Well done for getting that position, but you've got to score, man. He had a one-on-one in the first half, he had a one-on-ones in the second half, and then when he moved to right wing, he got another one-on-one and dragged it wide, It just seems very wasteful at the moment. And it's not just him, by the way, it's the attacking line just seems wasteful. But I thought Bruno had a particularly off game for himself. I think I'd like to see him score a goal or two and sort of see that confidence come back for him. And then the 92nd minute, what are you doing, man? Like, you got the ball in the corner. Hold the ball. Let them foul you. Play around there. Amrabat came to the corner with you to play with you in the corner to waste time. And you just had no concept of killing the game off there. You just took a shot that was never going to go into the back of a net. So I don't understand why you would do that. And then from that, Luton Town get a corner. And from that cross, they hit the bar. That could have been 2 points dropped and lost right there whilst we're trying to chase for the Champions League. So I can imagine Erik ten Hag is going to have a few words with him about game management, but I just want to see more from Bruno. Not quite himself at the moment. Left wing Garnacho, I thought he had, if you want to call it an assist, he had an assist today for Højlund. He had a few shots, had a clear one-on-one that he needs to be scoring and killing the game off in the 66th minute. I want to see him be more clinical. Had a decent game, not a bad game, not a great game, just a decent game. But I want to see, he looked threatening at all times. I just want to see him be more clinical and actually put stuff away. So I've given him a 6.5 today, and the same with Rashford. Looking dangerous. Getting a couple of good shots in, had about 3 or 4 chances to score, so you need to be scoring, Rashi. But, again, decent game, Not a bad game, not a great game, just a decent game, you know. And then the man of the moment, obviously Højlund. Well, from the start of the game, he just jumped in and sort of took over. He snapped up that loose ball in the first minute, you know, dribbled around the keeper, slotted it into the back of the net. Then minute 7, Garnacho shot, and sort of that instinct to just turn and hit it in with the shoulder was something that I've not seen from a Man United striker. That sort of reactions in a long time. I don't think we've seen players play like this since, I would say, Zlatan was maybe the last one who had sort of reaction time. But as a striker, I've not been as excited for a player to play up front as since maybe Ruud van Nistelrooy, maybe as a pure striker. Can't really think of any other pure strikers that have excited me this much in recent memory. But then you could see he's beaming with confidence at the moment, and you can see that it's one of those things where he's only going to get better. And he could have easily had a hat-trick today. He had a one-on-one in the 78th minute, and the keeper made an outstanding save. You know, but it's one of those situations where you can see he's getting better week on week. And it's not just his attacking play in terms of scoring goals. His hold-up play is improving too. You saw him more than once hold that ball up and play other players in with his back turned to goal, which is, again, Ruud van Nistelrooy-esque, who used to do that, you know. So I've given him man of the match today, and I think he more than deserves it. In terms of the subs, we had Lindelof in on the 46th minute. I thought he did a decent job down the left wing. You know, he was tested all second half on that left side, and he did a good job at closing down. I mean, the first 5 minutes, we were bombarding down that wing, and I thought he handled it pretty well. At half, you know, we had McTominay and Evans sub on for Maguire and Casemiro. I thought Evans did very well today. I thought he had a very cool, calming presence in our defence. Great with the ball on his feet, you know, passing in and out. He made some good clearances too, so I thought it was a good call to bring on Evans for Maguire. McTominay didn't really hear much from him. He almost jogs alongside the game today, so he wasn't at his best today. I would have liked to see more from him today and getting involved in the game. But it's the old thing with McTominay, isn't it? He either scores or he has a poor game, and I just want to see him get involved in the game a little bit more. And then Amrabat in the 85th minute kind of came in, did his job for the last few minutes of the game. Solidified the midfield, and I thought he did pretty well. So I've got to give him props there. But didn't really have enough time to sort of get involved in the game, if you know what I mean. In terms of the prediction, I predicted a 3-1 scoreline for Manchester United. I was close. Got the final result right, but I think also, unfortunately for us, we were just really wasteful today, and we could have easily been 3-1 or 4-1. Like I said, final score was 2-1, and I had my 3 focus points, which was first 10 minutes, 10 minutes after the half, and 10 minutes at the end of the game, no mistakes. And I titled it as Mentality Monsters, right? I mean, first 10 minutes, boy, 2 goals in the first 7 minutes. What more can I say? That is how to start a game. That is exactly what you want to see from a team. The 10 minutes after the half, I thought we did well in terms of shutting them down, because it was 2-1 at this point, and sort of making sure they didn't get that equaliser. So well done there. And then the last 10 minutes, I think we saw Erik ten Hag sort of shift the formation a little bit to solidify the midfield and sort of stop Luton from hitting us on the counter-attack or pushing forward. And I thought we did pretty well there. I'm not going to lie. In terms of patience, you know, but I did say that we needed the first goal, which was our second thing. Score the goal, patiently wait, hit them on the counter, and then sort of solidify and just counter-attack for the rest of the game, which is what I said should be happening. Well, we got 2 quick goals. We were pushing up, and then it almost became a end-to-end counter-attacking game, where one team, almost like a basketball game, one team went forward, the other team went forward, one team went forward, the other team. At that point, when we were 2-0 up, I think that's what we need to sort of use our brain a little bit, slow the game down, control the game in terms of possession, and yes, if the counter-attack presents itself, yes, hit them on the counter, but you've got to kill the game off with that third goal, and that never came today. For that reason, instead of it being an easy game, which is what it should have been after we were 2-0 up, it became a very tough game for us. And then the last point that I said, my third point, was professionalism, right? I said, get the job done, be ruthless. Well, we started ruthless, I can tell you that, but we could have easily had 5 or 6 goals today. And yes, this is a team that's 17th place, but as you know, in the Premier League, there's no easy game. On the plus side, though, the win cuts to the lead for Spurs from to 3 points. I believe I said earlier. I think I said it was 4. I made a mistake, so it's actually 3 points, so even better for us. But Villa's still 5 points ahead. But the good news is Spurs and Villa have got a game coming up soon, so that means that one of them is going to, or both of them are going to drop points, which is why we need to make sure that we keep winning our game and keep going forward. My final thoughts today, guys. I mean, the game went pretty much as I expected it in terms of I wanted us to get the first goal, and then I knew that we would hit them on the break and sort of solidify at the back. I do think that Luton were caught sleeping in the first 10 minutes. I don't think they expected that, it's good to see us exploding onto the pitch, and we'll see more of that moving forward. I did say Luton will push back and they will fight back because it's Luton, and Luton are a fighting team. They did this last year in the Championship. They fought and they attacked non-stop. And we got quite lucky, to be honest with you, with the fact that Luton didn't score more than one goal. And being as wasteful as we were today, had they scored more than one goal, I'm not sure we would have got a third. We should have killed the game off multiple times. I think every single attacking player had a one-on-one with the keeper that they missed. And I know Kaminsky is played well, but our attacker should be finishing those. It's not about how well the keeper played. It's our attacking player should be finishing that game off. And again, epitomised by that Bruno 92nd minute. I don't know what he was thinking. But, just run it to the corner, man. Just finish it in there. Get a foul. Run the clock down. So we were wasteful. Quite a bit lucky, I would think, today. But ultimately, job done. Job done means that we keep that chase on for the Champions League spots. But I still think we're being too inconsistent during games. We have periods of the game where we are in complete control, and then we have periods of the game where we sort of hide and just let them come onto us. We need to cut those out, because a team like Manchester City in a few weeks will not miss those chances. And that game will end up 4-0 or 4-2 or something like that for Man City. And I don't want us to get battered, to be honest with you, because that's going to knock our confidence, it's going to knock everything. But again, positives. Job well done by Erik ten Hag. Good tactical substitutions at the half. I did question whether Shaw should have been there at the start, but it is what it is. Big win, 2-1 away from home against Luton Town. Happy days. 3 points to Spurs. That's where we're at. 3 points to Spurs. That's our next target. We need to catch them. We need to pass them. And the same with Villa. And then we can go from there. So, guys, big game, big win. Thank you very much for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Leave any thoughts in the comments. Thanks. Bye.